Hello everyone. Today I'm going to talk about this video about Moses. We're going to listen to this and then I'm going to clarify what I think about it. Okay?
Because why would Satan be trying to contend for the body of Moses? Well, what you guys don't know is that Stephen said something very specific. It said that Moses was trained in all of the Egyptian knowledge and all of the hidden secrets and the knowledge of the Egyptians. So let's take it back here. Moses is adopted into the bloodline of Pharaoh. Okay, he is adopted, and we know that when we are adopted into the bloodline of Christ, that now we take on Christ's nature. Moses is adopted into the bloodline of Pharaoh. Moses is also a second son. So we know in Egyptian culture that the first son would become Pharaoh. But what you don't understand is that the second son would become a priest, a demonic priest. Would go up in Egypt to the Heliopolis. That's where they would do all of their initiations, their rituals to the false sun god Ra. That's where they would get initiated into dark magic, into all of those things. So when God takes Moses out of this and makes Moses now a priest of the Levitical priesthood, he sends him back to go challenge this same demonic dark magic that Moses would have been initiated into. So this is the reason that this is important, that we're talking about this from a salvation standpoint, that this thing follows you and these covenants are binding, is because the same thing with Moses. That's why at the end of Moses's life, Satan comes and says, oh no, he's one of mine. Because he was adopted into the bloodline. He did my initiations. He did rituals unto my God. He went through all of the covenants. He did those things.
Because it makes perfect sense. Why would Satan want to come for the body? He must have believed that he had some type of legal rights, or that Moses was involved into these occult practices in the past. Because sometimes even in deliverance, even if you confessed and you got right with God, demons will still say, I have legal rights. I have legal rights. Nope, no you.
Okay. So, let's go to what the Bible says, right? I like to stick with the Bible says because everything can be confusing to what people be telling you, right? So let's go to what biblical scriptures say. Okay. So, okay, I'm gonna start right here. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. So, this part here, she's talking about the Levi. This, right here, there went a man of the house of Levi, took to a wife daughter of Levi, and the woman conceived a bare son when she saw him that he was goodly child. She hid him 3 months. When she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch and put the child therein. She laid it in the flags by the river brink, and his sister stood far off to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river, and her maidens walked along by the river's side. When she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. Now, the Levi is the Levites. Okay, so, then they okay, so that's what they are. Fetch it. And she, so the Pharaoh daughter is going to take Moses from this from this woman who tried to hide her son, who is from the Levi, okay? And when she opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the baby wept. And she had compassion on him and said, this is one of the Hebrews' children. Okay. Moses was Hebrew. Okay, we're going to have to clarify this. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take the child away and nurse it for me. I will give thee thy wages. And the women took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, "What?" She said, "Because I drew him out of the water." And it came to pass in those days when Moses grown, that he went out unto his brethren, and looked on their burdens, and he spied on the Egyptian, smiting on Hebrew, one of his brethren. Now, when he got older, he knew that the Hebrews was his brethren. He didn't like the idea that Egyptian was spiting his brethren. So, and he looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian, and he hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together, and he said to him that did wrong, "Wherefore smitest thou thy fellow?" And he said, "Who made thee prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me, as thou killest the Egyptian?" And Moses feared and said, "Surely this thing is known." Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses. But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh and dwelt in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. This is where he fled away from Egypt. Okay. Now the priests of Midian and 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the torrents to water their father's flock. And the shepherd came and drove them away. But Moses stood them and helped them and watered their flock. Okay. And when they came to rule their father, he said, "How is that ye are come so soon today?" And they said, "An Egyptian deliver us out of the hand of the shepherds. Also drew water enough for us and watered the flock." So this is where Moses meets Sapphira, his wife. Okay. Now, Moses, in what I'm gathering, okay, yeah, he knew all the ways of the Egyptian household, yes. But when I read it, he never accepted that Egyptian household. Okay. Notice what was happening here. He really didn't accept it. He knew that he was Hebrew. He knew that he would look upon his Hebrew brethren and their affliction. Okay. So let's go to the next chapter. See, I have to explain it like that because people are going to get confused. That lady is making it seem like Moses was deep in the occult. Okay. Yeah, he knew the occult because he was in the family that was part of the occult, but he didn't accept it. You get my drift? He didn't accept that. Okay, so look, watch this. By faith, Moses, when he has come to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He refused to be called the son of the Pharaoh's daughter. So what is this woman saying that Moses belonged to Satan? When Moses was refusing that household the entire time. When he came into the age of, to know better, he refused it. Right? So it says, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. So he rather choose to suffer with the people of God rather to suffer in sin for a season. The pleasures of sin for a season. Moses never accepted that household. What is she talking about as far as he was doing all these rituals and stuff like that? He did not accept it. He did not. Read the word. Let's stick to it. Okay? Esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasures in Egypt, for he had respect unto the recompense of the reward. So, yeah, he knew the Egypt ways because he grew up in the Egyptian household. But did he accept that? No, he did not. No, he did not. He was bucking the whole Egyptian household. He was killing the Egyptians because they were killing his Hebrew brothers. He never accepted his mama as being his Egyptian mama, being his mama. He refused her to be in his mama. So, you got to read the word the way it says it. You can't go and stray off the word to where it's not saying what it's saying. Okay. Right here. Just read that one part. Let's go here. This is where they say he learns the ways of the Egyptian household. Okay. right here. I'm going to start with 20. In which time Moses was born and was exceedingly fair, and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was lean in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in the words and in deeds. And he was cast out. Let's read this again. In which time Moses was born and was exceeding fair, and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in the words and all deeds. And when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. So, and seeing one of them suffering wrong, he defended him, avenged him that was oppressed, and smote the Egyptian. For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. Now, he learned the ways of the Egyptian, but did not accept it when he came to the point of knowing that it was wrong what they were doing to the Hebrews. He didn't never accept that part of them smiting and doing wrong to his brother. Okay, so I don't know what she's trying to say. Is that he's trying that lady was trying to say is that he was getting high in the occult. It looks like to me he was rejecting it. Okay, this is rejection. It's like you grow up in a household that you totally fully reject. You disown. Okay, that's what I meant to say. Disown. That's the good word. Disown. So he in a Pharaoh household, Egyptian household, but he's disowning it. Okay, he know they are not part of him, and he know he's not part of them. So he's disowning it. He don't like the idea that they messing with his brother. So I don't think what that girl said was correct about him being like getting high up in the occult. Because when I'm reading for Moses, he's disowning the stuff. He's disowned when he came to age. He's coming to age to the point where he don't like the idea they smite his brother. He don't like the idea. He don't like that. He don't accept his Pharaoh mother. So I mean, read the word. The word says it. The word says he don't like the idea of what they were doing, the Egyptians were doing to his brethren. You know. So, where does this idea of Satan getting Moses' body from? Okay. That he said Moses belonged to him. Now, let me say this. Satan always say that some soul, he wants someone's soul. He always wants someone's soul, okay? But the thing is, they make it look like, the way she explained it, she making it look like that Moses was high up in the occult ways, okay? So high up there that he still was sold out to Satan, to where Satan said, but he belonged to him still. That's not how this saying it. That's not how the Bible's saying it. The Bible is saying, like, yeah, he was in that household. He learned the ways of the Egyptians, but he did not accept it, though. He disowned it. So, what is she talking about? Like, he disowned that idea of the Egyptian household. That's why Pharaoh was after him, and that's why he slayed the Egyptian. Yeah. He slayed the Egyptian from trying to smite a Hebrew, his brother. So he fled from Egypt to Midian, that would be in Ethiopia, to meet Reuel the father. Reuel father is the father of Sapphira, which Sapphira is Moses' wife. So I had to clarify this from what they trying to say. I mean, yeah, he grew up in the Egyptian household, but that don't mean you cannot disown that household. You got a lot of families disown their own families, right? They know they're not really with that, so they disown them, right? Same thing with this. Moses was adopted in the Egyptian household. He was founded, by the way, by the Pharaoh daughter, right? And At the same time, Moses did not accept her. And he did not accept the Egyptians smiting the Hebrews. He just did not accept that. I don't know what she's talking about. He's getting high up in the occult when he's disowning the occult. He's disowning the family. He's disowning the Egyptian ways. He was disowning it. That's why Pharaoh was after him. I mean, come on, y'all. Let's preach biblical here, right? I mean, what she said, she's not, like I said, when people talk, they talk when not reading the Bible, what it says per se. Okay. Now, Moses is a Hebrew from the Levi. Okay. He was an Egyptian from the get. Okay. And the Pharaoh daughter knew that. She said, oh, this is one of the Hebrew boys. And I'm pretty sure she probably told him to the reason why when he came of age, he didn't accept her, and that he looked at his brother being Hebrew, that they were getting smite by the Egyptians, and he didn't like that either. Okay? I mean, I had to really preach this because the way the girl was saying it, he was just going on into the occult, high up in the occult, and high up in there that Satan wanted him, right? He was not going high up in the occult. He learned the occult because, he's in the Egypt idea, but he did not accept it. He did not accept it. That's why he fled. People do go off track of the Bible, what it's saying. So this is why I had to come on here and let y'all see it for yourself. Okay? So I want y'all to stick to the King James Bible. It tells you the truth. Moses was was adopted, like she said, in the Egyptian household and learned the ways of Egypt. Yes. But he did not accept it when he became of age to know better. Okay? I don't think he accepted it when he was a child. The way they say he disowned his mother for being Egyptian. Okay? For being the Egyptian mother, they say. So, he didn't accept her as his mother. He looked at his brother being afflicted. He rather suffer with them than suffer the pleasures of sin. So where is this idea of him being high up in the occult when he's disowning the occult? Hey, let's preach right. And I know Bendigo means well, but you got to read the word per se. Okay? Don't confuse anybody, because Moses was not part of the going up in the occult. He's disowning that. He was disowning it the whole time. All right? So people, serve this word here. Jesus Christ is God.